Okay everyone, before we get started, if you want to check out the ins and outs of how this series works, please watch last month's video where I check out every Mario Kart Deluxe custom track from December. But the small gist of it is this: I'm only including tracks made in January, from the 1st of January to the 31st of January, retakes of tracks don't count, and is the only track updated / made in January that I wasn't able to play. Boshi Skate Park, because it still doesn't work on using. So, with that out of the way, I hope you enjoy. Okay, first track on the list is GBA Mario Circuit Remix, which basically the theme of this track is, what if GBA Mario Circuit was even more like Mario Kart Deluxe? And by that I mean, there is so much anti-gravity and this is actually absurd. Like, the original had the little, I can't even, don't know what to call it, the little, mechanism, which you can kind of see it here actually, which has the big anti-gravity turn in it. But that's about it. The rest of it is pretty similar to how it was in the original. But Casini Loogi, and I can't remember the other guy who did it, the original creator, basically went, okay, why not take that, but just go absolutely crazy with it? And this is the result. And it's really, really cool. Like, I love the idea of this, just having, reimagining a track that's already in the game to have more anti-gravity sections. And look, there's even a little section up top here, which you can go and it still counts a lap, and you get a free item box there as well. Again, there are some really, really creative ideas here that are really, really cool. It's definitely one of the more creative reimaginings of a retro that I've seen, especially because it still fits within the realm of Mario Kart Deluxe. And yeah, it's a really, really cool idea. I think a couple of turns here really high. If I hit this, for example, it gives me a lot of speed, which would occasionally send me flying off the track. But other than that, all the turns feel nice and wide. There's nowhere where if I fell off the track it would feel unfair, for example. And yeah, it's just a very, very cool idea. It's a very, very good start to the month. And yeah, I'm super excited. I always get really excited to see Casini Loogi tracks, just because he always comes up with something kind of wacky like this. So I kind of see what else comes from him in the future. And yeah, this is a really, really nice track. Okay, so I'm going to be completely honest, I have no idea what this track is. I have no idea what this track is. It is such a fever dream. Basically, from what I gather from the wiki, this is made, inspired by a friend of the authors, I guess? I'm honestly not sure. There's so much going on here, it's actually insane. And the track's super short as well, so I don't really have much time to talk about just what's going on. Why are there random pictures of Mike Wazowski and Thomas the Tank Engine? Why are there so many blind turns here? What is going on? Why is everything supersized? I actually like that section where you go under the little, this section here where you go under the little, cloth, things are really, really cool. That's actually, one of the only things I like about this track. I can't really be mean, because clearly, this is their I think this is the first track this person actually made, so I can't be too mean to it. But it's definitely a fever dream, and it is absolutely mad. Again, there are bits of track I do like, but I think mostly parts of it are really hard to drive. It makes next to no sense thematically whatsoever. But yeah, it's an insane track, and yeah, I don't really know what to say about it. It's just absolutely insane, and I kind of respect it for that. And if you couldn't tell already, this track is made by the same guy. This one I actually like a lot more than the first one. And I'll explain why, because it still feels like an absolute fever dream. Again, I have no idea what's going on here, but this track feels a bit more functional than the other one does. I think this is Paisano Raceway. I'm pretty sure that's the name of it. Yeah, this is mad, but again, it feels more like a track than the other one does. Just in the sense that, everything's wide, everything, it's not you can see where you're going at all times. This glider ramp's a bit weird. It just sends you all the way up. There's a double box there. I didn't actually realize there's a double box there. That's actually kind of cool. So the glider ramp does have a function apart from just setting you up and you might get some coins. I like the background here. There is also a shortcut just randomly over here. I'm gonna take it shroomless just so I can get to it. But yeah, if you can't get to that ramp, it's literally pointless. You can get to the other ramps. There are a couple of other ramps around here. You can see them off to the right. But yeah, again, this track is it's still absolutely insane. There's just no real point in those ramps being there. I like the Shy Guy just randomly hammering that ramp as well. So yeah, I like this track a lot more than the first one this guy did. But again, it is just absolutely insane. And again, I kind of respect it for it, but at the same time, yeah, it can just be a bit too much. Like, there's just so much going on. But again, there's so much going on, there's such little going on at the same time, I can't really say much more about it. So yeah, I guess we just move on. Okay, so this is a track I've played before, in a previous video about GameCube tracks that could make it into the next few waves of the Booster Course Pass. But this one has changed a little bit, more for graphical and like KCL overhauls, according to the wiki. So it looks mostly similar to how it did before, but it does feel a little bit touched up. I do like how the castle partially is still upside down. I think Peach really needs to fix that, because that doesn't really seem healthy. To just be living half upside down all the time. It must be really hard to navigate. What I do like, I don't know if I mentioned it before, I love this little, like, side veranda thing. That's a really, really cool touch. And it kind of differentiates it from just if they had it, it's just a random port of the original, or like the one from Wii, for example. But it's a little, like, extra touch like that, which makes these tracks feel really, really cool. But yeah, I can't really say much more about this track, apart from what I've already said before. So if you want to see my original thoughts on this track, and how likely I think it is to get into the Booster Course Pathways 4, 5, or 6, check out my GameCube tracks video. That's a mouthful. To find out more. Yeah, the track looks really nice. It's definitely been upgraded, so you can definitely tell that some work's going into it. And yeah, it still plays really nicely. I just wish this section was a little bit easier, or maybe I'm just bad at the game, who knows. But yeah, overall, pretty good. I like the overhauls on this one. I think it makes the track a lot better. Alright, we have another Squadaloo bagger, DKR Fossil Canyon. I nearly got the name for a second. It's from Diddy Kong Racing, and yeah, I believe he also made a variation of Ancient Lake. And Ancient Lake's pretty cool. Honestly, this track is really, really cool. I love the way this track looks. It looks and feels like a Mario Kart Deluxe track. Diddy Kong Racing was kind of ahead of its time, actually. Considering, again, a game for the N64, which had, you know, car to hovercraft to airplane, and you traverse the track in all sorts of different ways. Like, that's a really, really cool concept. I mean, like, Sergeant Sega All-Star Racing Transforms kind of experimented with that. But yeah, this track, it fits with Mario Kart Deluxe pretty well. I especially like the little anti-gravity section. I like that little inclusion. Let me try and get the shortcut streamer. You can do it fairly easily. You just drop through and then you're meant to trick off that, but I'm not that good. So there you go. But yeah, pretty cool. I'm gonna try and take this lower route for a second because it's a little bit tricky to get down to this lower part. It really wants you to go up to that top route. But it's still good. But the other thing about taking that top route is that start post there, it's solid, so you will just crash into it. It's not like Neo Cooper City or what's another like GBA Mario Circuit, I guess, which have the little rotating ones. If you drive into it, the flag rotates. No, it's just solid. If you crash into it, you just bonk into it, and it slows you down a little bit. So I'd maybe change that. But other than that, yeah, it's a very, very cool track. And I honestly just can't wait to see if any other Diddy Kong Racing tracks get into a Deluxe custom track. Like Hot Top Volcano would be great, please. If you could do that, that would be fantastic. So this track might not look that much at first glance, but I was reliably informed by Mayro that this track was in fact made in Roblox and then ported over. So even in Mario Kart Deluxe, we're still continuing the tradition of make track in some other fashion, like some other game, and then just port it over. We've seen in the Custom Tech Showcase tracks made from Lego, from Minecraft, and now in Roblox, which is pretty cool. But yeah, this track is pretty impressive for a track that was made, again, in Roblox. The shortcut here is very, very easy to take. I can just literally snipe it with a green here, and then take the shortcut, because there's no off-road. This has no off-road in it whatsoever. So if you have a mushroom, you can just make it really, really easily. A couple of points I'd make about this track is that I think, you know, graphically you could do a little bit more with it. Like, you know, you can maybe up the textures a little bit, because it looks, some of the textures do look quite plain. I'd maybe add a little more animation, but I do like the boos flying around. And obviously there are a couple of technical infidelities as well, like the flickering textures and stuff like that. But other than that, it's actually pretty cool. I'm going to take the regular route as well. There's a slight problem I have with the regular route as well, in terms of like some of these sections. If you're just drifting along here, for example, there's a hole right here, and it's kind of hard to see that sometimes if you're just traveling along. So I'd maybe change that somehow. Maybe just don't have the hole there at all. But yeah, other than that, it's very, very impressive. As I said, that this track was made in Roblox. It's a very admirable take of SNES GB1. There is a couple of things I do to make it like, even more impressive, but yeah. I'd say this is a pretty good base for a custom track. I hope the person who does this does more, because again, I want to see more done in other like other editing softwares or other games like Roblox. Like, this is a really cool concept. I'd love to see explored more. Okay, so this is really, really exciting. GBA Rainbow Road from Mario Kart Tour in Mario Kart Deluxe. Like, I'm pretty confident this track is getting into the DLC at some point, so I can just say, oh my god, I got GBA Rainbow Road in the next DLC early. But like, I mean, this is a very, very cool port from the Tour version, which apparently is one lap in Tour, which is odd to me, but there you go. I really hope that if they bring this into 8 Deluxe for real, and I kind of hope they do, because why wouldn't they? I think, yeah, it's a very, very cool idea to bring this in, and it looks so beautiful. Like, look how pretty this is. Like, everything just works, it looks so smooth. It very much reminds me of 3DS Rainbow Road in a way. Just how everything just looks so crisp and clean and smooth. Oh boy. Whoa! That can happen though, sometimes. I didn't get sent flying off. Where does that actually respawn me? All the way back here. Oh my god, that is a really mean respawn. So, occasional things like that can happen, but I guess that's just because the half-pipe things were only just introduced recently. So I don't think that, you know, I think Nintendo will probably work on that if they bring that into 8 Deluxe for real. But yeah, it's still very exciting to have GBA Rainbow Road. Sort of, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Faithful, I guess, to the original, in some way. Just because of the, you know, since the half-pipes are added in, you can do all the weird half-pipe shenanigans, you can have that jump. And again, this wouldn't really have been possible before the half-pipe settings got added in Wave 3. Because like before, you'd have had to work around it. It would have been a bit awkward. But no, it looked absolutely fantastic. The anti-grav sections worked really well. The animations look really cool on the railings as well. Like, they're a really cool touch. And yeah, it just looks incredibly pretty. So yeah. I really hope this makes it into 8 Deluxe for real. But right now, this is, I think, the best GBA Rainbow Road you're going to get. Unless someone surprises me. Like, this is very, very cool. Okay. I've always maintained that this is a track that should have been in Mario Kart Deluxe from the start. And now it's finally here. Vacay Bay, originally by SquireTurnbolt, one of my favourite custom track creators of all time. This is just so cool. I love the original concept in Wii, don't get me wrong. Like, Wii's version of Vacay Bay is absolutely fantastic. But in 8 Deluxe, this track is just made for it. With the anti-gravity sections and the glider ramps. Like, it's really cool. Just, like, the overall, like, concept is cool enough. Like, just going over, like, the roller coaster, and then going underwater, over all the various jumps. It's such a cool idea. Squire is very creative with the concepts he comes up with. And, yeah, this is absolutely no different. It looks stunning as well. GamingBram also helped out on this as well. There's 3 different routes you can take. I'm going to take this route, going through here. I have already done a YouTube short of this track. So if you want to check out just a bit of a shorter version of this track, then go check that out. But this is for a more in-depth analysis of the track, I suppose. I think this track is absolutely stunning. It's so beautiful. Everything just looks so nice. Everything feels alive and vibrant. It's just it's so nice. And of course, it wouldn't be a Squire track without the Squire burst. There they go. Yeah, this track is absolutely amazing. I just love the concept. I love the way it drives. I love the way this track feels. It's just it's so nice. And yeah, I'm super excited this makes it into Mario Kart Deluxe. Again, I've always maintained this should be a Mario Kart Deluxe Cup track, and now here it is. I'm wondering if any other Squire tracks going to get, like, me personally, I'd love to see a track called Lunar Lantern Festival by Squire get into 8 Deluxe, because that's just really, really cool as well. I think that would be, that feels made for 8 Deluxe. But yeah, can't wait to see if any other Squire tracks get ported over. I really hope that they do, because stuff like this is just absolutely mind-blowing. Alright, and the final track of the month that was released in January is GBA Rainbow Road, which was released earlier in the month, but then at the very last day, got an update, which makes it a little bit better. Because the main problem I had with the original was that some of the turns they were way too small. But luckily, that change has been, it's like they read my mind, because those changes have now been amended. And, yeah, it controls a lot better now. It feels a lot smoother than it did before. And, yeah, it's just overall a lot nicer. Ow. There is one complaint just on the track that I have in general, which is that I think there are too many glider sections. Because I think a glider section in Mario Kart Deluxe has to feel like, oh, man, that's really cool. And it feels, you know, I think it kind of overdoes it a little bit. There's 3 glider sections on here. And they all kind of feel very samey. Like, this doesn't really need to be a glider section there. The other 2 I'd keep. One, because it's, like, the glider section is actually a cool alternative to the shortcut. And also, at the end, I think, is a pretty cool idea to have a glider ramp as well. But I wouldn't have one at the beginning. That's just a little nitpicky thing. Because other than that, the track looks really nice. It looks very, very pretty. I love the Mushroom City-esque background. I think that's from N64 Rainbow Road. But yeah, I think overall the track is nice. It's a couple of things I would change to make it feel a little bit, yeah, I don't know. My personal enjoyment would just get the, just keeping the road here and not having this glider path. At least have something here to kind of make it a little more interesting instead of you get from point A to point B. But other than that, this is a very, very cool track. I kind of wish that the yellow ramps you could trick off as well, but kind of like how it was in the original. But yeah, other than that, it's a very, very cool track, very cool idea, and yeah, it's a pretty good version of GBA Rainbow Road. I'm a fan of it. And my favorite track made/updated in January is Wii Rainbow Road. I was originally going to pick Vacay Bay as my favorite because of the way it looks and drives, but while I was getting more footage for it, I found that it does lag quite a bit in versus races, so I had to give it to Rainbow Road. With that being said, however, this track is absolutely fantastic and deserving winner of the month. It looks absolutely gorgeous and it drives really nicely. The R5 sections, while they're not perfect, work really well as well, and almost makes this track what it is. So while elements of this track aren't perfect, like the wobbly road with holes in the middle, it's still a stunning and very enjoyable track, which is why Wii Rainbow Road is my favorite track made/updated in January. What's your favorite track of the month? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you all very soon. Peace.